Hi, my name is Young Bin Lee. I also go by Ben. This is going to be my video for the final week one submission for AgentForge, which is a clinical AI copilot for the OpenEMR open source software that is used by clinicians to help them with their charting with patients and diagnosing them and helping them with such. And essentially, our bot is going to help them get to certain conclusions quicker by exposing information in a way that's faster and more practical than looking through individual charts upon entrance. So here I'm going to select the patient and I'm going to be signing in here asking for and they have to sign in to be in this page to begin with, but we want to make sure that that they have the authorization to do the stuff that they need to do, in which case, here, as you first see the chart, no AI call is firing. They need the user scoped OAuth token first. So this pop-up is going to help us do that. That's a real OpenEMR plus PKCE flow. The sidecar exchanges the code server to server using its own client secret. The bearer that comes back is scoped to 7 FHIR resources tied to this physician. And here, it brought back information for this particular patient, and it has a source for every single thing. So it's verifying that the things that it's mentioning has real sources, and otherwise it would reject it in the agent loop. Yeah, and this is a much better way of going about showing information in a quicker way to the clinician so that they have a quicker turnaround in viewing the problems for patients. And the fix that we made here is also that they're able to ask follow-up questions and continue on with the session here. So I'm going to be asking, for example, what is the problem facing? And I have a typo here, but AI is quite good at dealing with that type of thing as well. So it's going about doing the same process as before, but continuing on from this. So here, it brings up their primary medical conditions and concerns, and also has the sources to back that up here. Something I wanted to talk about is the way that this fires. So the 6 tools fire in parallel here, and it writes a summary with citation tokens, like I mentioned, and the hallucinated ones don't reach the physician. The verifier is going to 502 that, so reject those claims. So here, I'm going to come to Langfuse, which is a self-hosted observability platform. Essentially, it's going to help us track the performance on these queries. So this one took 14 seconds, and you see, it actually goes through the turns they have in which they're going to validate the responses that come back from these tools that they called. And yeah, that's going to be kind of helpful in analyzing cost as well as the performance of this agent in practice. I mentioned this before, but this is a sidecar with its own. So this is OpenEMR, and then the sidecar has the self-hosted Langfuse, which is observability, like I mentioned, and then has a sidecar separately. Something we can test here as well is something like this, right? If you ask or try to, kind of get more information about another patient, for example, that's not within scope for this chart, that's going to reject it here. So yeah, that's going to So you would need a new session with that patient's ID and such. So we're putting kind of security first in that sense, which is important for HIPAA regulation, and that's why kind of we also had the self-hosted Langfuse for that purpose. More of a full breakdown is available on cost.md and the eval suites that I've run, but we have 29 passing on Claude Sonnet 4.5, and the last run was very recent today. It costs about $1 in Anthropic spend per suite run, which I think is quite worth it in being able to actually monitor degradation on the model's performance. And for cost breakdown, it costs about $0.013 per chat turn, which is kind of steady, and about 6 seconds end to end on a typical briefing. This is verifiable on Langfuse. And the dev spend to date, I've spent about $20 to $30 total across Anthropic, Railway, API. So as we scale, I think 100 people, I think it could totally cost $280 to maintain. And then scaling up to 1,000, maybe 2.5K, something like that, 10K, 24K, 26K. So as you grow, the costs grow with it, obviously. The observability and the FHIR side load is going to be the real cost driver, not necessarily the model, but you can see the full breakdown in cost.md that I've put up as well.